Good morning. There you are. Good morning,
Good
Joe.
morning.
Hello,
Morning.
Leonie. Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. So welcome, Joe Scott, kinesiologist, a nutritional therapist, and Leonie Morris, who is an energy psychologist and energy medicine practitioner. And my name's Mike Jenkins, present moment awareness guide. And we are meeting again. This is Conscious Conversations number 5. Is that right?
Six.
Six.
Conscious
Six
Conscious
already.
Conversations number 6. It's Conscious Conversations number 6, episode 6. And we've been meeting together every Wednesday morning to record some perspectives, to inspire, to heal, and to awaken. So I often talk about perspectives to do with becoming present and engaging with ultimate, conscious reality beyond our physical limited selves. Dr. Leonie Morris has been sharing some excellent energy medicine techniques and practices to come into alignment with our energy. And Joe Scott has been sharing some really helpful perspectives on nutrition and on balancing our energy and just taking a more practical approach to living our lives a bit more consciously and making decisions that support and that serve us. So we're going to talk about fatigue again this week. It's something that we've all been struggling with, isn't it? And in particular, we're all spending a lot more time at our computers, at our devices. And so I personally know that I have to limit that and use that in a conscious way to achieve what I want to achieve. But also, there is the aspect of the drain that electromagnetic fields and just being around a huge amount of electrified devices has on our energy. So, Joe, you're going to talk to us a bit about that this morning.
Yeah, I'd love to. I would love to. I think definitely, we are all electromagnetic beings, energy surges through us. And we, resonate on the same level as nature. That's our way that we resonate. And of course, whenever there are frequencies outside of that field, they start to interfere and they start to cause a stress. They resonate stress on our bodies because that starts to interfere with our whole energies. And, very much in kinesiology, what I'll often say to people, particularly if people sort of say, oh, no, that's not going on out there, that's not happening. So in kinesiology, we muscle test. So we test a muscle, and if the muscle holds, that gives us information. If the muscle goes weak and loses that hold, that gives us information as well. Well, if I take somebody and I test their muscle just in a neutral situation and their muscle holds, and then if I ask them to take their mobile phone and put it to their ear, if I test that muscle again, that muscle completely gives way because the frequency and the electromagnetic that comes off the phone is interfering with our energy.
So, Joe, just to tell us a little bit about how you do that muscle testing. Isn't it to do with slight resistance?
Yeah, so muscle testing in kinesiology, you can use lots of different muscles in the body. When I'm working with a client, I tend to use an arm. It's an easy muscle to use. So you'd hold, let me try and do this. Hold the arm up, and then what I'll do, I'll have one hand making contact with that person, and then I'll test the muscle because then I'm in circuit with that person. And I'll just apply some pressure. It doesn't need to be huge pressure. And in a neutral stance, you can apply the pressure and the muscle will hold. It will hold.
But you'll ask the client to resist.
I'll just ask them to hold. I'll just say, can you just hold? You don't need to, arm wrestle me or anything, but just as I try and maybe push down on your arm, you're just matching the pressure. So that's what they'll do. So in a normal situation, that muscle will hold. If I then ask them to put a mobile phone up to their ear, I will apply the pressure and that arm will just give way. Now, a lot of people will think, oh, no, I can just fight you. But no, it'll give way because the muscle in that situation, the energy field is being disrupted. So, it is definitely there. There's no denying it. And I think at the moment, current circumstances, people are spending a lot more time in front of the screen, whether it's tablet, whether it's the laptop, whether it's the phone, whether it's the television, all these things. So constantly our body is being subjected to electromagnetic stress. And that for sure will be draining our energy. You know, and I certainly found first lockdown, I was doing a lot of studying, but a lot of it was researching. So I was using the internet. I was then writing up my assessments and everything. And I was finding by the time I got to the afternoon, I was just completely zapped, completely drained. I found I'd fall asleep and I was just losing that energy. And actually as well, you know, often when we're getting a lot of electromagnetic off the screens, we can start to get brain fog. We can start to get headaches. We can feel nausea, lots of different things. So it's definitely draining our bodies. And one of the key things that I'll always say to people as well is that, you know, lots of people use their mobile phones as alarm clocks. And I would say, for goodness sake, get them out of the bedroom. You know, I find people with them on the bedside table, right on the level with their heads. Some people even like putting them under their pillow. And, you know, you are not going to have a good night's sleep.
At least put it in airplane mode. If you're going to have it there,
yeah.
in airplane mode.
But I would say ideally out of the bedroom. I would say to people, if you need it as an alarm clock, have it out on the landing, you know, outside of the bedroom. And the same, you know, if people have got TVs in their bedroom, don't have them on standby, you know, because you're just draining and you won't be getting that refreshment. So from good sleep. So I would always say, you know, obviously lots of people need to work on this equipment. That's part of the work they do. But I would say at least every 40 minutes, have a break. And if you need to, you know, set an alarm to remind yourself, just get up, have a break, even if it's just 5 minutes. Just move yourself away from the screen, go and have a stretch, go and get some fresh air, have some exercise, anything just to have a break from that screen. Because often people sort of think, I'm so locked in, I've got to keep going at it. But actually, if you have a break, come back refreshed, the quality of your work will be so much better. So I would definitely say, make sure that you get those breaks, make sure that, you know, you get that mobile phone out of the bedroom, no TVs on standby. And if you can, wherever possible, an hour before you're going to go to bed, shut off the screen, whether that's TV, whether that's looking at your phone, whether it's working, you know, on the laptop, iPad, whatever. Shut it down, because all of this, you're getting the negative drain on you, but also it's stimulating, you know, the blue light coming off, that will disrupt your sleeping pattern. And I have certainly experienced, if I've been on the, you know, equipment a lot, my sleep is all over the place. And again, if you don't get good, refreshing sleep, you're going to be tired. So it kind of goes round in a circle. So I would say very much think about how you restrict that time. And, you know, on your phone, I'm not terribly technical, so you have to excuse me, but you can go in and check how long you've spent on your phone during the day. Well, have a little look at that, because you'll actually be horrified how much time you spend. And maybe, you know, it's about kind of planning, right, I'll do this block of time on the screen, and then I'll go off and do a block of something else. And it may be that you need to change your schedule. You know, a lot of people I've found, you know, they start work a bit earlier, do some work, then have a good break, and then do a bit more work later on, and maybe restructure how you spend your day. And also think to yourself, are you allowing yourself to get dragged down into, you know, constantly looking and checking things, or are you actually keeping control of what you're doing, or are you letting all this equipment control you? So those are sort of some of the practical things. And one of the things I thought I'd share is we can actually protect ourselves as well. And here I have, it's called, is that right, in the right place?
Yeah, that's good.
It's called an Orgon Pendant. And the idea is you wear it around your neck. and you carry that with you, and that actually helps to harmonize and protect you against all of the gunk that comes off of all the equipment. So that's not just you know, laptops, tablets, phones, that's all the electrical equipment in the house, it's the Wi-Fi, all of those things that can actually help protect you. And the great thing about this is you can wear it all the time, so when you're out of the house you're also getting protected. So this is great, the Orgon Pendant.
Sorry to interrupt, Jo. So what, I've got one of these. So what is Orgone? Just tell us what Orgone is.
Oh gosh, that's a very good question. I can't necessarily tell you what it is.
It's just a semi-precious, naturally occurring stone that absorbs radiation.
I know. I mean, it's similar, I suppose, in the way that you can use crystals. Like, you know, sometimes I'll put crystals inside my clothing, inside a pocket, to protect me. So amethyst is a great crystal that you can pop in your pocket. You can sit it by your laptop, by the Wi-Fi router. So so you know, it's there and it absorbs and takes in that.
So what I've understood is that they're when they create them, when they make them, whether they're made from resin or whether they've got semi-precious material in them, they're
definitely
charged,
semi-precious.
aren't they, charged with a frequency that...
No, they have their own natural frequency.
Right.
So if you think about it, it's kind of charged with what we call more a negative frequency, because what comes off of all the equipment is a positive. So what it does is it harmonizes and balances. So you're getting that balance rather than letting all that positive charge overtake you, if that kind of makes sense. So
yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that's that. And then also what I've got here, this is a dome, so dome shape. Again, Orgon, and it's actually called, I'll read this, it's called actually a Schumann generator, or a space clearing dome. So in the same way, I position this by my Wi-Fi router, but wherever you have this in the house, it will actually protect the whole house to all of its boundaries, or, you know, apartment, wherever you live, it works right out to the boundaries, and it can protect you from the electromagnetic stress. It also protects you from geopathic stress, which can be energy lines that can run underneath your houses, which can disrupt our energy. And the latest one of these, which is actually called a stellar dome, actually gives 100% protection against 5G, which of course is, you know, causing a lot of disruption to us, and they haven't properly tested exactly what 5G does to us. And one thing I'll add in, not wanting to be too controversial, but where do you think one of the places in the world that has the biggest 5G coverage is?
Japan? Don't know.
Wuhan, which is where
China, yeah.
COVID emerged from. So, you know, the 5G is that would be a whole nother subject that I'd get onto, which I won't do. But, you know, there is a lot of worries about that because they're not sure what the impact is on our balance and our well-being. So the Orgon Pendant and the dome, I get them from a company called foodforconsciousness.co.uk. And if you go on to their website under EMF, electromagnetic frequency protection, they've got a whole array of different products. Sorry, that's front doorbell going. A whole array of products. So the pendants and the domes are all available there. So I would, you know, encourage you to have a look at their website. Very interesting, and a lot of other different things on that website. So foodforconsciousness.co.uk. So, you know, you can look.
Post, can't we? So let's just say we can put the link in the post to make it.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, you can look at ways of minimizing your exposure and managing your time, but also you can look at how you can protect even further by maybe having the pendant or the dome, or both. I have both of them. So so you're protecting yourself and also the house. So
awesome.
Lovely.
So, you know, it's you know, it's definitely there, and it's something that I suppose, you know, we're going to be subjected to more and more and more. And it's how do we manage that for ourselves and protect our energy and our well-being. So
absolutely. Mike, I don't know whether you wanted to step in, or do you want me to share some energy techniques to go alongside Joe's, practical steps to protect ourselves?
I think I would just echo what you're saying, really, in certainly taking any measures that you can to protect yourself physically from the effects of electromagnetic fields, but also, just pay attention to how we feel, so these conversations that we're having, the perspectives we're sharing, the approaches, they're all about really raising our awareness, becoming more self-aware of what's working for us and what isn't, and making conscious, deliberate choices. So a lot of people that I speak to will be skeptical about the impact of EMFs, and they are skeptical about all these things. But then I just say, well, go and spend half an hour at the beach, or, spend an afternoon sitting on the grass, not just on a blanket, but on the grass in the park, and just looking up at the sky, and then come home and see how you feel after that. Yeah, it's okay. And then spend 4 hours in front of a laptop and see how you feel after that. So some of this stuff is really, kind of straightforward, isn't it?
Common sense, absolutely.
Common sense stuff that we can feel ourselves. We don't really necessarily always need really compelling proof. Our own experience is the most compelling proof that we've got for any of this stuff. So I think that taking any of these measures, it's about choosing what works for you, and being conscious of how we are using our devices and using our time in front of screens. So I completely echo all of that. I don't always manage this, but I try to have a walk at the beginning of my day and a walk at the end, because I've been working for home for 10 years. So, I walk round the block in one direction to walk to work, and round the block in another direction to walk home from work, so that I'm consciously sort of making a division between time at home and time at work when we're having to work from home. And definitely, breaks every 40 minutes, look out the window, jump up and down, drink some water. And this might lead us nicely on, Leonie. I mean, something I've been finding that since I've had more energy from working with both of you, Joe, I've been embracing your advice to drink more water, to change my diet, to cut out sugar, to cut out alcohol, all of these attempts to improve nutrition. And Leonie, the advice that you've been given to just take control and bring some, conduct some techniques on ourselves. I find, for example, that sometimes I've got all this trapped energy, so I'll go and I'll do some squats or some frog jumps, or or if I feel that, we've done a couple of videos where you've said sometimes we can feel the static energy of anxiety, is to sometimes I will just do that, or clearing things here. So that brings us, I often don't know completely what I'm doing with that, but I kind of go with it, and I know it makes a difference.
Yeah, do things intuitively. That's what I always say with energy medicine: do what feels good.
So with that said, Leonie, can you give us some
great... Mike and Joe, you have shared an encyclopedia of stuff about how we respond and become more conscious, but there are a couple of other things. So I'm going to pick up on your point about being skeptical. So I'm a science nerd. If people know me, they will know I'm a nerdy science freak, and I overstudy and research everything. So did you know? Here's a fact. We have 15 trillion times more EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies in our surrounding airwaves than we did 10 years ago. That's how massive the increase is. And as Joe said, we are electromagnetic beings. We have subtle energies, electromagnetic energies, which interact with everything, animate and inanimate. So you can only imagine, and I can see this, so I'm going to share something with you. When we sit and just work at our screen and we're not interacting, our our frequency is trying to interact, trying to entangle, but it's actually quite passive, but that's not so bad. So as long as we're a meter away from our tablet, our laptop, from our phone, we're keeping our own, our aura, our biosphere, the membrane that protects us, we're keeping those EMFs away. So that, that's one tip: keep at least a meter away. Your arm's length is where your membrane, your protective membrane is, standing out to. But actually, when you're engaging, so, I'm a coach, I'm a healer, I work with people via Zoom or, connecting, looking at people on screen. My electromagnetic patterns do not know that that person I'm interacting with is miles away. They're trying to entangle, they're literally engaging with the screen as if that screen is in person. So actually the EMF radiation, the disruption I get, is bigger when I'm doing something like this, engaging in a conversation, because my body does not know that the people on the screen are not people in front of me. So it's trying to entangle. So beware of that if you work and speak with people. And actually even more if you're a guy or a girl who's into gaming, when you've got emotions running high, when you're really excited, you're zapping everything, killing it, whatever you do, whatever your game is, that emotional, interactive vibe that you're giving, you're relating to with your computer, is really doing you damage. It's actually creating a much stronger EMF kind of disruption of your energy patterns. So energy and harmony is what we're trying to get to. That's what your body, your energetic body, is trying to do. With EMFs everywhere, and particularly ones that are engaging you, you're kind of quadrupling, factoring up by hundreds and thousands the impact that you're having in your own energetic body. And as Mike said, you will know if you spent more than an hour at a laptop or with your tablet or with your phone, you feel shitty, you get a really bad headache. So I do engage some energy medicine techniques to stop us from having quite that, that strength of interaction and protect ourselves. So I'm also a Star Trekky freak. So this is about putting on your cloaking device. When they were in Star Trek on the Enterprise, the Klingons would come in, cloak. Well, we can do the same thing. So the front of your body that faces whatever, machinery, technology you're using is the most susceptible. This is one of your weakest areas. And you might have noticed as we've been talking, I literally might sit there like this, or doing the classic thinker's pose, because these two poses are providing a cloaking device. They're literally protecting you from the energy coming into one of your weakest energetic areas. We speak out from here. So this is where energy is literally being sucked in. So holding this pose, the thinker's pose, is actually protecting you whilst you're using your device. You're actually engaging something called radiant circuits along this area here. And they provide that protection. They regulate what comes into your body. So just holding over your throat like this, double protection, or holding like this is helping you. It's the same with your heart. Your heart is a powerful electromagnetic force. So sitting as you're talking, whatever you're doing, just sitting like this is giving your heart that extra protection. And I talked briefly about a mudra, which literally means a handhold. If you put your fingers in the OK position, then wrap the other fingers with it. Get your other hand and place it into the palm so that your other hand is also doing that OK position. Difficult to show on screen, but holding that. So I've been sat here holding that mudra. That hand position is again giving you that cloaking device. Here I am back on Star Trek, but it's engaging your energy systems, actually all your chakra energy wheels, to clear and cleanse. So as you're holding that, wherever you're holding it, at your belly, at your heart, I'm just resting in my lap. It's creating this beautiful vortex of energy, working through all of your chakras and pushing energy out into your aura to strengthen the protective membrane. So that is a powerful protective mudra that will literally stop the energies coming in. So if you haven't got your orgonite, pyramid or your dome protecting you, you can do it yourself, which is great when you're out and about. But in my nerdiness, I have to share a couple of facts here. Anyone with a phone needs to check out in settings, and you go to the regulatory part of your settings, it will tell you that you should never use your phone like this. Because there are so many, so much EMF disruption that you are almost literally frying your brain. And for the skeptics out there who don't believe it, go and check what the regulatory stuff says, and it actually advises you. This is the telephone manufacturers, they're hiding it, but they need to legally tell you, give you a medical disclaimer that says, don't use it like that. Use it with wired headphones, not with wireless buds, because it's that wireless interaction, one earbud speaking to another earbud, both earbuds speaking to the phone, both earbuds and the phone speaking to the nearest antennae in your area. All of that, like whack to whack to whack to whack. I love my nice sound impressions there, but all of that clinging and clanging about from one place to another is what's creating massive disruption. And I'll tell you a little fact about people who don't believe it. A Japanese woman, and there are now 38 cases, not a lot, but women who don't have hands-free. This lady had a 2-hour commute, 2 hours to work, 2 hours back, 4 hours every day. She put her phone in her bra. And apparently lots of women do this. It's if you haven't got hands-free, stock it down there, and you can actually talk hands-free without any equipment. She actually got a subcutaneous cancer in the exact shape of her phone. That's how powerful it is. Some of us are more sensitive to EMFs than others. So always keep it away, always put it on airplane mode if you can. As Joe said, put it away while you're sleeping. That's when you need to regenerate and restore. So do all of those things to protect yourself. Be conscious, because it really is, it's getting worse. There are more EMFs and there are now more cases. And I'll give you one more nerdy fact before I finish off. The one area in the world that was most impacted by EMF disruption was actually in Japan, which is why I spurted it out earlier. But Nagasaki, Hiroshima, where the bomb dropped back in World War II, obviously they have lots of emissions and radiation. It was expected that the fallout of that would be immediate. Actually, it was 40 years later. So it's cumulative, it builds up in your body. People in the areas where the bombs dropped, and in quite a wide geographic circle beyond, are now showing the effects. So we do now have proof that EMFs impact our bodies, and they impact them negatively. So the rise in cancers, particularly brain cancer and bone cancer, are now attributed to the rise in EMFs. The longevity results are in Japan, and we're now starting to see cancers in the shape of your phone. And one final warning for women again. If you're pregnant, I've seen women do this. They've got their lapbook, tablet on the pregnancy bump. It's resting away there, but EMFs are taken through our bodies, where our skins are permeable, and we're literally poisoning your poor fetus in vitro. So please don't do that, ladies out there. If you're pregnant, please be really, really conscious, because all of the research about EMFs, in my nerdiness, I've researched this, has been done on men. And particularly the relation between your brain and where your phone is. It's been done on men who nearly, 99 times out of 100, a higher percentage than that, have a much bigger head than a woman, and certainly have a much bigger head than a child. So all of the regulations about how often you should use your phone and how close it should be to your head are done with a man, and they're actually done on American Forces man. So like, big guys, musculature, all that stuff absorbs EMFs, women are weaker. I don't mean that in a bad way, but our body absorbs it more easily. So, you know, unless you've got a massive head, don't go around with your phone attached to it, and just be aware, just be conscious, keep it away from you, and try some of those techniques. And the stretch, the big stretch, putting one hand up and one hand down. It's called the heaven and earth technique. That allows your energy to flow, and that grounds your energy and gets the circulation moving. So it's much better to shift any radiation out. And there, I trim my mouth.
Thank you so much.
I think also, I'll add one tiny bit and then I'll shut up as well, is that, you know, men tend to put phones in their trouser pockets, which can be the worst area to be putting their phone, you know, so that's another thing.
It's true. And also resting a laptop over your groin when you're typing or something, then that's all going into your sexual organs, you know, which is not a good thing. So that's really helpful advice. And I think it's just stuff that a lot of us just don't think about, because we use these devices to live our lives, to pay our bills, to talk to our family, to do our work, to have entertainment, all this stuff. And at the moment, I think it's just times 100. All of our lives, for most of us, are online in front of a screen. So thank you so much for that. We don't have much time. Do we have time, Jo, for a 5-minute silence together?
Yes.
Yeah,
perfect.
5 minutes. I know you've got to dash off for another meeting, so let's just bring ourselves together here in this moment. And I just want to be expressing thankfulness, really, and gratitude for both of you and for our time together. And just remember that we can at any moment just stop and breathe and listen just to the simplicity of this moment. And just allow that silence to enter our whole body and mind. Just allowing ourselves to pay attention to and be conscious of this dimension that we all appear in the present moment. This infinite field of potentiality of life. And allow that to be Thank you.
Oh, so peaceful to end that way.
Thank you, that's lovely.
Very powerful.
We'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah.
And and we'll speak about something else. So if any of those of you that are watching, if you'd like us to talk about anything in particular, we've got 3 different types of skills here and expertise. So you can contact us on our Facebook pages, our websites, or on the comments on some. I think actually from my videos I turn comments off for YouTube for good reason, but we'd love to hear from anyone who finds these videos useful or helpful. So do get in touch. And thanks for joining, Joe and Leonie, and see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for some great sharing. Lovely.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.